If you would have asked me how to let go without losing love. So today's episode is about something that's been in my heart and on my mind for a while. Letting go without losing love. And I think we've all faced moments where we've had to distance ourselves from someone we care about. Whether it's a friendship, a relationship, or even a family member, there are times where though you love one another, the way that you guys function together just is not compatible at that time. You're in a space of growth or an area of growth where you guys cannot grow in a situation together. All right. So, welcome to another episode of If You Would Have Asked Me, where we dive into the deep heart of human experience. And today's topic is something that I feel like touches every single one of us, and that's going to be letting go without losing love. And it might sound like contradictory at first, like how can we let go without a grudge? How can we let go and still hold on to love to somebody else without having them in our lives? And sometimes it's as simple as just releasing our grip as the only way to allow both ourselves and the people that we care about to grow. So, in this episode, we are going to explore how setting clear boundaries and embracing our own growth and understanding our inner energy can lead to healthier, more respectful relationships. So, get cozy, grab a cup of your favorite beverage, personally, sticking to the water, or else I will die. And let's dive into the journey of letting go without losing love. Also, just want to throw in this short little disclaimer, y'all. I'm not a professional. I didn't learn any of this in any other source, like a classroom or read a self help book or, like, I don't know, whatever you think. Like, I could have learned this from. I didn't. I am purely speaking out of personal experience and the life lessons that I have learned and just personal growth that I've had and moments of clarity that have brought me to these conscious thoughts that I can finally verbalize. Okay, so let's start with something very fundamental. Being clear about who you allow in your life. So think about the people around you, your friends, family, and even acquaintances. Each person plays a role in your story, but not everyone is meant to be involved in every chapter. So when you're your true self, you learn that you are exactly where you need to be at exactly the right moment, and you're not pulling your hair out about where you're at anymore. It's important to recognize that sometimes you don't have to be in every part of someone's life. Actions speak 10 times louder than words do on a consistent basis. And so, if someone's behavior shows a lack of respect for your boundaries, or if they're stuck in a cycle that isn't healthy for either of you, or you're stuck in a cycle that isn't healthy for either of you, it's okay to step back from that situation. I've learned that while I choose to love and support and be there for people, that love must be mutual. I need to see that same respect for my boundaries and feelings that I give to other people for their boundaries and how they feel. There are so many times where I will find myself in a situation where I will bite my tongue. I will pay extra close attention to a person or a situation so I am not making people uncomfortable, and so I am not causing or bringing up or instigating a situation that just will constantly, like, push negativity into the situation. I would rather stay silent. I would rather walk away. I would rather find some sort of the distraction from disrespecting someone else's boundaries and feelings. Because when the respect for people's boundaries and feelings isn't there, it's not like a failure on either side. It really simply is just a sign that your paths are probably in a moment where they need to diverge. And you have to be able to understand that you both have traumas from each of your lives that sometimes is harder to grow with a specific energy in the room. And that goes both ways. And so you have to separate yourself from each other to just be able to both heal and grow independently without feeling codependent and draining somebody else's energy. And remember, setting these boundaries isn't about cutting someone out with hate or ill will. It's about honoring your truth, and it's about trusting that when you let go, you're making room for a healthier and a more authentic connection later on. For like you and the person that you're in the situation with. Okay. So now let's get deeper into the idea of respect and trust. See, I personally have always believed I can fully trust someone who listens to my words and respects my feelings and honors my boundaries. And that's not about withholding love, it's just simply about recognizing that contributing to someone else's toxic cycles because you love them isn't really love at all. It's kind of just you being selfish because you want to be in someone's life or you want somebody in their life, even though you both know that you constantly put each other through a pain that does not heal and does not grow. Literally, like, just imagine you're giving your all to someone, and every interaction literally leaves you feeling depleted or disrespected. In those moments, you're not choosing to love them any less. You're choosing to love yourself enough to step away. In these moments, you need to simply choose, I don't deserve this treatment. I don't deserve to not feel understood. Obviously, I need to put myself in a position to love myself more. This drains too much of the energy that I should be pouring into myself. So I'm going to step back so I can give myself that energy. And so you can give yourself that energy, or so you can reflect. So that way, once we've healed this or once we've broken this cycle, we can come back together and we can conversate on how we got to this point and why I made you feel that way and why you made me feel that this way in these specific situations, and determine where you guys can go from there. But if you both choose to ignore the truth, it's best if you just take a step back from the situation until both of you have that truth understood. Because it really isn't about bitterness, it's simply an act of self care and genuine respect. And sometimes the hardest lesson is literally just accepting that the other person isn't in a place where they can accept love and respect your offerings. Or you are in the position where you cannot accept love and you can't respect what people are offering you. See, the realization can be extremely painful and make you want to curl into a ball and just kind of stop existing. And I understand that because I mean, it means that acknowledging that the healing process on will literally just requires the both of you to grow separately and for both of you to just be your own people at this time and figure out who you guys are separately on your own. However, understanding this, understanding that letting go is not rejection of love, the love that you feel, and understanding that it's more of an acceptance that growth sometimes happens best from distance. You can learn a lot when you lose somebody in your life. So I invite you to reflect on your own relationships. Take a second and just really sink in and think about them. Ask yourself, are these cycles in these connections that repeat? Are they causing you pain? Are you the only one carrying the weight of respect and understanding? Because if you start to recognize these patterns, it can be the first step to redefining your boundaries and ensuring that your energy is nurtured and not depleted. And so when you find yourself in a situation where you feel as though your boundaries are not all, like, you know where your boundaries should be, but you have your boundaries kind of on the floor, and they need to be way, way, way up there, but you have your boundaries on the floor. This is just a moment where you need to be raising your boundaries, and the right people will not see you raising your boundaries as an issue. The right people, the people who are meant to be in your life, your soul family, is not going to see your boundaries as an issue or make you feel like you are disrespected or misunderstood because you have boundaries. They're going to be like, you know what? I understand what you've been through. I know your life is not mine. I love you. I'm going to keep that in mind. Or I respect your boundaries, and I promise you that for the right people and for the people that genuinely love you and want to take care of you, it's not going to be an issue at all. They are going to do it in they're going to do it just like that. It's going to come like a natural instinct. Those are the people that are meant to be in your life, not the people that you have to force to understand you. All right. So let's kind of redirect the conversation and let's talk about energy. Something we all have in extreme abundance of. Even if we don't always recognize it, every single one of us is born with exponential amounts of energy, a force that drives us through every experience. And as we grow up, we unknowingly release this energy into the world through our actions and our interactions and our emotions. And let me try and think of like a very small way that this happens to us as people. So let's say when you were a kid, like you just had a moment with your family, or you were in a situation where you just got so like built up in like a specific feeling, like a very negative energy, very negative feeling. You just got really, really, really sad, or you got really, really, really mad, and you started bursting out in tears, or like you like completely shut down, or like your body reacted before you had the opportunity to because you were so trapped in this energy. And so now there's other situations, there's other moments in your life where this energy comes back up, and every time this energy comes back up and it surrounds you, you feel stuck again. You feel like you did in that very first moment, the very first time that you had ever felt this energy. And often, you might not even notice these energies. It's like a background hum that fuels our existence. It's your baseline. And when you take the time to understand yourself, you begin to see how powerful that energy really is. It reminds you that your presence matters, that no matter the situation, no matter how intense your emotions may be, you have the strength to move through it, because that initial first time that it ever happened, first time you ever experienced it, you pushed through it and now you're here. And yes, you do have a recollection of what you were going through last time you felt that energy or the first time you felt that energy. But that's fucking normal. There's not a single person on this world who does not react because they feel the same energy that they did in a situation from years ago. And if they say that that's a lie, then they're lying. They're lying because it happens to everybody, or they just don't know themselves enough to recognize it. They might not be lying, but it just reminds you that your presence truly does matter. What you bring to the table matters. You matter. And you have to get that through your head. Because no matter the situation and no matter how intense your emotions are going to be, you have to move through it. See, letting go without losing love means tapping into your inner reservoir. It's about allowing yourself to deeply feel like, and I'm talking like deeply, I'm talking like not just like, oh my God, I need to cry, or like your body starts crying. I'm talking your soul. Like, you allow your body to feel what your soul is feeling on the inside. And that is just feeling to the most extreme amounts that you ever possibly could. It's feeling so deeply every ounce of sadness that you've ever felt, every moment of joy, every second of your anger without being overwhelmed by it. Like, that sadness ties into the grief of losing those people. The joy ties into the memories that you have, the feelings that you have when you get those memories with those people, and the anger when you understand that the situation had the opportunity to work out, but it didn't. And you don't get overwhelmed, so you don't lay in your bed for 2 months and cry about the situation. You might do it for a month, but at one point you get back up again. Or when you feel those moments of joy, when you think about those memories, you don't text them and try to rekindle or try to have a conversation just because you love them. And when you're in those moments of anger and like, oh, I hate you so much for putting in this position, or I hate me for so much for putting us in this position, you know, not being overwhelmed by it enough to allow yourself to just be mad at the fact that they could have screwed you over, or you screwed yourself over in the situation. you know Punch the air, scream into a pillow, punch your bed, go to the gym, vent to a sibling. However you need to release it, because that is the best way to just not be overwhelmed by it. When you let yourself feel and you give yourself the permission to flow where it's needed, you start to understand that even in a situation that doesn't end positively, it doesn't diminish your worth or your capacity to love. See, this is the same energy that forces you to propel forward. It literally propels you forward. This energy shoots you straight to where you need to be. I don't know if you listened to the last podcast, but I have a podcast about detours and comebacks and things like this. And this is just one of those situations where it's literally just considered a detour or a comeback or a side quest. Like, it it this in this situation, it gives you the opportunity to propel forward. And it reminds you that every moment and every interaction and every decision contributes to the story of your life. Because at some point, someone's going to ask you a question and you're going to have to answer it honestly, unless you just want to be a liar. But just remember, if you are a liar, the truth will always come out. And even in the midst of letting go, your energy can be a beacon for new beginnings. Embrace these times, embrace it, nurture it, and allow it to just guide you to where you truly belong. And if you're still really confused on what it really does mean to let go without losing love, it's about accepting that sometimes the healthiest thing you can do for both yourself and the people or person or whatever it is in the situation that you care about, that you feel like is draining the both of you, is to give each other the space to grow. And it isn't about harboring all the negative times and all the bad things that led up to this moment. It's about the opposite. It's about understanding and cultivating a deep, abiding respect for one another's journeys, and understanding that you love each other enough to know that you guys were not growing together. You were growing. You were actually just dying together. You were depleting each other into a hole that you both were never going to get out of if you continued down this path. And it's about loving each other enough to understand that you both have the ability, you are both strong enough to grow without needing this other person in your life. So, when you decide that it's time to take a step back, you're not saying, I don't love you anymore. You're just saying, I love you enough to know that you need room to become the person that you were meant to be. And it takes a tremendous amount of courage. I'm not telling you that this is going to be easy. You need to grab the utmost strength, all the strength that you could possibly gather and put into the situation. You need to do it, because that's the only way that you're going to get out of it. It takes a lot of fucking wisdom to just recognize what someone is going through and understanding that what they're going through isn't about you. And it's about them, and it's about the path that just sometimes must be walked alone. Letting go in this way is a true act of self-respect and a honest representation of genuine love. It's about focusing on your own growth and giving yourself permission to heal, and trusting that every ending is just the disguise of a new beginning. And that doesn't only apply to you, that also applies to whoever or whomever or whatever the other person, place, thing, whatever you want to verbalize it as, also needed a new beginning as well. They need a new room to grow. And as we come to the end of today's episode, I just want you to take a moment to reflect on your own life. Think about the relationships that have shaped you and the ones that you've had to make the painful choice to step away from. And understand that letting go without losing love is a form of honoring the beautiful journey of life. And not only of yours, but also of whom or what or who, or like I said, whatever applies to you in this situation is. I need you to deeply understand that your presence always carries a weight, and your energy is powerful. And though it might not be recognized by every person and it might not be as bright as you want it to be, it is still there, and it will be recognized by the right people, and you will bring yourself to the brightness that you desire when you are ready. And while not every situation has a neatly wrapped up positive ending, every experience, it teaches you something very, very valuable. And even if it hurts, and even if the process is messy, know that you have the strength to navigate all of it. Take this time to focus on yourself and listen to your inner voice and respect your boundaries. Allow yourself the grace to grow, and always remember that love is not lost by letting go and removing yourself from someone's life, or allowing someone to remove themselves from your life. It's just transformed into a force that just propels you further into your most authentic self. And that does mean going through messy emotions that make you literally want to die, or make you feel so embarrassed that you feel like you can't breathe. That is part of your journey. Like, you are not the only one who is feeling emotions to these extremes, and it's about something completely different. You are not the only one who feels the way that you feel. However, you are the only person who understands why you feel it to that extent. And that is the difference. And that is deeply why it will always be okay for you to just allow people to leave when they don't align with you anymore, and allow yourself to step back when you feel truly it is the right thing to do. Give yourself the room to just be who you need to be in every moment. Understand the role that you play and the amount that you affect people. And understand that sometimes that can be negative, and that you're going to have to remove yourself from a situation, and that is okay. That's going to be it, though, for today's episode. So thank you so much for joining me on today's reflective, beautiful journey that we are going to call life. And I hope that our discussion on letting go without losing love has given you some food for thought and a gentle reminder to honor your own growth. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your stories. As I say in every other video, feel free to just show up as your most authentic self in the comments. Whatever you need to say, let it out. If you don't want to do it so publicly, which I completely understand, feel more than welcome to text me. If you don't want me to respond, just be like, you don't have to respond to this, but I will respond, because I yap. I don't know if you could tell. But feel free to share this with someone that you think might need to hear it. And until next time, just remember that you are exactly who you need to be. So, love deeply and set your boundaries firmly, and let your energy lead you to a brighter tomorrow. All right. Everybody, you have a wonderful day, night, afternoon, week, whenever you're watching this, however you're watching this. You have a beautiful everything. And I'll see you in the next episode.